Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, we're here.
We are. We
It's
are.
Wednesday.
This is Wednesday, and I love Monday, Ancestor Day. And to me, this is just an extension of it because of what you put up on G2G with the homestead and the migration. It's still just talking about my ancestors all day.
Hard to get away from that. Even tomorrow for date day, they're still all kind of, it all comes back to the ancestors.
It does.
Just
It really
different
does.
ways to showcase them.
Share and showcase and celebrate.
That's awesome. Oh, here's Darren's sharing how many profiles we need.
There we go. How was it last night? I can't remember the total we gave. So we're making. I did do what Azure kind of mentioned. I did a mini connectathon today.
Nice.
I just kind of sat there and I said, you know what, I'm going to add. There is I'm going to say his name wrong, but Stephen T. I'm just going to say Stephen T. He sent me something saying that he was on a DNA hunt for ancestors or people in West Virginia. So I was like, let me just have a mini connectathon and help out a fellow WikiTreer.
That's awesome.
That's what we did.
Yeah, that's what I was working on for the cubicle party that we just left. There was a lot of WikiTreers there. I was working on connecting. I'm trying to get these Holocaust notable couple. They survived the Holocaust together, and I'm trying to get them connected to the tree. So that's what I was working on, is adding more profiles there. So that was my little mini connectathon hour.
Nice.
It's kind of and we're going to talk about ancestors really tonight and locations. We're not going to talk about anything modern, but it's kind of therapeutic, isn't it, to just kind of connect and see where they connect to the big tree.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. And it looks like Chris got your Capinelli.
Oh, he did. And
the other day.
This was really fascinating. So there's a lot of things. If you guys saw the bonding over branches, and Azure will tell you that there was another idea that I was working on, and I was trying so hard to get the technology working on this other idea. Time was running out, and Azure's like, "Come on, Sadie, give me a presentation. What are you going to do?" So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to my backup plan. It was bonding over branches. And I know WikiTreers around the globe. Before I started WikiTreers, I did not know people around the globe. So I was like, okay, I've got a coal mine disaster that has a lot of global people. And one of them was an Italian that we knew. And if you watch, you'll see Chris's face. You got to give me something other than born in Italy. That was it. That's all I gave them. So let me see if I have it. I think I do. So he looked a little bit, and Chris, I'm gonna try and tell the story too. So out of the blue, days later, many days later, we were talking, chatting on Discord, and he said, "You know what? I think this might have to do with the Italian diaspora. So maybe his records aren't around because there were some issues with Italians at the time, and people didn't really care for him much and come over to United States. So he dropped it, and I'm going to put the link there. And Azure, I'll put the link here if you want to bring it. So he dropped it in the Italy channel Discord, and his friend Denise and also Doug, an Italian Appalachian, jumped on it. And one went one way to find information, and one went the other way, and boom,
we got a location.
Now there.
Woohoo!
I mean, this is just really crazy. So, as I always tell you all, I can make anybody an Appalachian. I can figure it out. So this gentleman actually fought in World War I for the U.S. and migrated over. And they've gave him a complete profile. They've given all the information they can find. Chris found out that his mother died just a few months later. So we're like, I don't know if it's over grief. I don't know what it is. And now I know that Doug from the Italy Project and Appalachia Project, he is searching some of family searches full unindexed text search to try and see if he can find out people that were in the probate and how they relate. Because here's the question we have, and this is a really big question. This gentleman has an amazing tombstone, and it has his picture on it. It's amazing. Who did it? If he has no relatives in the United States, this is a mystery that we can't.
You guys solved that mystery. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, so thanks to everybody in the Italy project for that. And then Emma with hers, I gave her 2 choices for USBH profile, and she picked one named Commodore because it's a cool name. And that's kind of what we do, right? We kind of look at it, either pick a location or name. And oh yes, I'm sorry, I need to give a shout out to Frank too. Thank you, Chris, for saying that. So Frank, Doug, and Denise and Chris. But Emma took Commodore. And if you were watching the symposium, she was live chatting every time she found a new record. It was so cool to see her do that. And it was such an amazing search. His parents divorced, so that's why the parents were in 2 separate locations. And she could have figured that out. Had like 13, 14 kids, things like that. She created a video based off of a Commodore on how she searched for them. And if you're in a USBH project, or reach out to Emma and check it out. It was pretty cool. So, again, I can make Appalachians out of anybody.
It was kind of like a little feature of what's going to happen on Saturday, the research parties.
It is. And I don't know, how many of you are doing the 1880 census? I'm doing a small little portion of it. It's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. So I'm bringing my 1880 census questions to the USBH research party chat.
Hey, so I have joked about being like what's the word? Adopted in Appalachian, or however we were saying that.
Yeah, but you are.
But I am, because I was just looking, and I have a lot of stuff in my biological family that I just haven't had time to look at really closely. But my great-grandfather was born in Asheville, St. Clair, Alabama.
But also, it's very interesting. I think about, maybe 2 months ago or so, I DM'd you and I said, with a profile link, and I said, who created this profile? And it was you, like years ago. And I was like, did you know that profile links into my family? So
yeah,
we got you covered on all sides.
I'm just all over the place.
All right.
So that's kind of talking about, thanks for Chris for mentioning that. I wanted to give definitely a shout out a little bit more to Emma and Chris. And if you watch the video that we showed, there was a gentleman that was kind of, I guess, maybe the feature, Henry Russell. And I think Irish John's in the chat now too. He got him connected as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
We maybe didn't do everything during the live chat, but every single coal miner that passed away in that explosion that we showed you from all over the globe, is, including the German one, is now connected.
Woohoo! Great job, everybody.
So locations, right? We're talking about locations, and that was a perfect example of it.
Going around the globe.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
So, do we want to go through and share? Let's see. We have the migration story showcase. I think somebody was talking in the cubicle party that they were going to add some.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So we can share these. You guys want to just kind of switch back and forth and read them?
Sure. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yeah. Is that better? One more? Okay.
That's fine for me.
Okay. All right. So this first one is from Gil. My great-grandmother was widowed in World War I and not long after emigrated to Australia from England. So that's quite a ways.
Yeah.
She seems to have had a good life. Only sad that her children all moved so far away.
Oh, wow.
If she hadn't left my grandfather behind, I would have been born Australian, or would have been someone else.
I love that.
One plus point is that I have all these letters, although mostly just family gossip. It makes me feel better that I knew her. It's a bit weird thinking about what if my grandfather had gone too, though.
It is weird. The what ifs, right?
What
Yeah.
ifs?
Uh,
All right.
Me? Sandy?
You.
Who's
Yep,
me?
it's you.
Okay, Mary Ellen Asheville. The ancestor I will highlight is Ludvig Sigvard Christensen, my great-grandfather, who was born in Norway in 1866 and found work as a sailor, eventually settling in St. John, New Brunswick. What made him choose Canada, we don't know. Perhaps it was meeting Mary Elizabeth Poole, a young woman of English and Huguenot ancestry. They married and had 13 children. Ludwig worked as a longshoreman and a painter to support their family. Many of Ludwig and Mary's descendants are in touch today, and some, including me, have visited Norway.
That is so cool.
That one is.
I want to visit Norway.
Right?
Well, there you go. There's another location question. What is the top location on your bucket list?
Oh, that's a good one.
I
That
don't
is
know.
a
I'm
good
going to have
one.
to think about this one. Okay, so the next one's from Norma at Norma Wills. And my great-grandfather, John Flynn, was born in Ireland. He married his first wife, Mary Eliza Cohen, in Scotland. And they had 2 children together. When Mary Eliza died, he moved to Kilsyth, I guess, Scotland, and married my great-grandmother, Mary Reynolds. 2 Marys. That's tricky.
Mary's.
They have 5 children together, including my grandmother. And my mom was raised hearing her grandparents' names as Maisie and Ian Flynn, the Gaelic forms of their name. Now, that
Oh,
was
wow.
really tough for research. It would be interesting. So, my mother, Anne, had heard that her father, John, aka Ian,
Whoa.
had passed away when she was a child. So when my mom started genealogy searches in 1990, she was looking for Maisie and Ian in Scotland. Okay, Irish John, you're in here. He usually helps me with my Scottish ones. This would be one I would throw his way. It took me until long after my mom's death to find that John Flynn had actually abandoned the family and moved to New York in 1909. This was less than a year after my grandmother was born, so really young. Found this out through divorce records from when Mary fled for abandonment in 1918. And according to records, John moved to the U.S. to try and provide for his family by living with his siblings. But he only sent back money twice and never wrote again. Wow.
Oh.
So that was kind of, and then he eventually died of wood alcohol poisoning. I don't think I've
Yikes.
heard of that before. In Bellevue. And for those of you that don't know, you mentioned Bellevue in the United States. Most of us recognize that name. And he was buried in a grave with his brother. He
But
was
not listed on the
tombstone. That is a really tough genealogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. Okay, here we got Italian.
There you go.
There were stories about how my Italian grandparents met, such as they met on the boat on their trip to the United States. Well, my search of the manifest for the boat my grandfather came over on showed my grandmother was not on it. Doing more digging, I found their birth records on the Italian Antonati website. Surprise, they were born one day apart in the same small village, Macerno, Italy, in 1887. But where did they meet as adults? Well, they both came to the United States to meet family in the Ladd, Illinois area. Many Italians immigrated to that area because of the coal mines there. They met in a rooming house in a nearby village. They later married, raised a family, and joined the Italian community that developed in Mark, Illinois. So 2 babies from Macerno, Italy, born one day apart, ended up meeting in central Illinois, and an Italian-American family is born. That's cool. Jay Kirk. And they have a one-place study from Macerno, Italy.
I was
Cool.
gonna say, we need a one-place study for Mark.
I recognized it.
We need a one-place study for Mark. Hey, Eowyn, I'll jump in on the next one because I can say it in 2 sentences. Probably. So this is mine for migration. You guys should already know. If you watched my symposium last year presentation, I had my family on talking about the infamous Hillbilly Highway. Some left, some never came back. That would be my mom. Some left and came back. That would be my uncle. And some never left and were heartbroken that our entire family moved away. But my dad, it was tough times in the early 60s in West Virginia. If you weren't a coal miner, you didn't make money and you didn't eat. So he took his family. I was not born yet. He took his family to Baltimore first and then kind of spread out closer to DC, Washington, DC from then. Ended up divorcing, and my dad actually stayed with me for a little bit and said, I can't take it. I got to get back, and I got to get back to mountains and hollers. And that's exactly where he went. And he went back to Western West Virginia, where my 2 brothers were born, where they got married, where his family is, where his family's buried, where he's now buried, and he is forever back home. But definitely, there's a link. Definitely check it out. It's a pretty cool presentation for me because I heard stories I'd never heard before.
It was a really great presentation last year. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was very good.
Surprise, thanks. Okay, the other reason why I wanted to jump in on this one is because Irish John said, good luck pronouncing these names.
I'm going to butcher it, but I'm okay.
Okay, here we go.
I'm ready.
Here we go. You can do it, Eowyn.
Don't judge me, John. My paternal great-grandparents, Thomas Tyner and Margaret Tyner Negood, married in Bandon, Cork, 1892, and had 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. My grandfather, being the youngest born in 1900, in Lac-Nashna, Denmanway, Cork. By 1911, the family were still in Cork in Ballycarrony, West Lisgould. Then sometime between the 1911 census and 1916, they traveled to Nahelly in West Wicklow. My grandfather's brother, Thomas Goodwin Tyner, signed up for service in World War I and was killed at the Battle of the Somme. One of the records states he was the son of Thomas and Margaret Tyner of Coolalug House to Nahelly, so we know they were in Wicklow by then. I have heard that Margaret didn't want to move to Wicklow but stay in Cork, but in 1911, Thomas's eldest brother Michael was already in Wicklow, living at Cronsillag, Ballinaclash, which is 17 minutes drive, 3-hour walk from Coolalug House, so the brothers lived quite close. Before I got interested in genealogy, I was in a school art competition, and one of the judges was another Tyner. He didn't think we were related, but it turns out we are. He is descended from Michael and also has the same name as my dad.
Wow. That's cool. Good job.
Good job. Fearless.
Probably not.
I mean, you just fearlessly went forward and they rolled right off.
I know. You went all in.
John's probably crying right now. I'm sorry.
All right. This next one is my family's most fascinating migration story is that of our earliest American ancestors, Stephen Hopkins, an ancestor I share with countless other WikiTreeers. In 1609, Stephen began working as a minister's clerk, reading religious texts to a congregation that included members of the Virginia Company. That year, he left his wife and family behind and, in his role as a clerk, set sail for Jamestown, Virginia, aboard the Sea Venture. That lead ship of a small flotilla, the Sea Venture was transporting goods and new settlers to the struggling colony, as well as carrying Sir Thomas Gates, Virginia's new governor. However, during the journey, the Sea Venture encountered a fierce hurricane and was wrecked off the coast of Bermuda, stranding the passengers and crew on the island. For the next 4 months, the castaways worked to build 2 smaller boats that would allow them to continue their journey. By January, Hopkins had grown discontent with Gates' leadership, openly questioning his authority. As a result, he was arrested, charged with mutiny, and sentenced to death. Fortunately for Hopkins, the colony couldn't afford to lose a single able-bodied man. After he and his allies pleaded with Gates for mercy, he was granted a pardon. From then on, Hopkins avoided voicing any further dissent. For 10 months, the castaways survived on Bermuda's abundant natural resources until they finally completed construction on the 2 new vessels. These boats eventually carried them to Jamestown in 1610. Let's see. This is David Randall that's sharing this great story. Let's see, where was I? Interestingly, the wreck of the Sea Venture is believed to have inspired Shakespeare's play The Tempest, and the character Stephano may have been based on Stephen Hopkins himself. So it just goes on to relate more about him. You guys can read more about that. Maybe look at his profile. All right.
Near you, Sandy.
Oh, I'll do this one.
It's
this
Kentucky. It's Appalachian.
Yeah, it's an Appalachian. So this is from Lucas, and if you guys remember I want to say it's the Source-a-thon, the intro, I believe, that Azure put together. Lucas is the one at a table with a banjo in his overalls. So that's Lucas. He actually has completely renovated an old stone farmhouse, and it was a tremendous amount of work. And on his pages, he has lots of details. He has a one-place study too with it. It's called Meadowstone, the name of his house, and that's his one-place study. But his grandparents, Raleigh Murphy and Arian Refit, were both from the same rural area of Kentucky, and his family were sharecroppers, so they moved off within the community. She was the 9th generation on a farm that had been in the family since the original U.S. Revolutionary War, I think, patent. That's pretty amazing. They were coming of age around World War II. Wave of migration from Appalachia areas of Kentucky went to, again, Hillbilly Highway here, to Dayton, Ohio, and surrounding industrial cities, and they left home at the age of 16. I mean, you think back what we were doing at 16, there's zero chance I was leaving home. I was loving the free meals and the free rent, So I can't imagine. He was older and left first and would move back and forth from Dayton to Kentucky. There was an actual bus route that did just that. And it turned out factory work was not more desirable than farm work after all. They finally settled when she was 17 and they were married. Nearly every weekend they would travel back to Kentucky to visit family again. We talked about that in Hillbilly Highway. It was guilt. It's called Appalachian guilt. The family, if you leave, the family's like, oh, you're too good for us now, and you got to come back. So in the 1940s, they would have to stand up on a Greyhound bus for up to 8 hours, one direction. In later years, it was about 3 hours by car. Their weekly trip to Kentucky continued the remainder of their life. Think about that. That's crazy. I'm not a big car ride person like that, but they migrated to another location. But it's clear Kentucky was still home, and she went to Kentucky for 17 days to make sure her baby was born there and had Kentucky on the birth certificate. And I moved to Kentucky 27 years ago because even though I was not born here, it feels like home.
That's great.
That's cool.
Oh man. Oh, dang.
Oh,
okay.
We gave you another one.
The profile I am highlighting is William Wilson Pirrett. He was born in Kirkintilloch, Dunbartonshire, Scotland, United Kingdom in 1862. 2 years later, his uncle and aunt immigrated to New Zealand, and letters were exchanged back and forth to the family in Scotland. William immigrated in 1887 after wanting to come out to this beautiful land full of gold where you can get big wages for doing nothing. Of course, that wasn't what Henderson, Auckland, New Zealand was like.
Wait. I can go somewhere like that.
I
want to hear about that.
Tell us more. Now, Karen has a surprise.
I think there might be one more if you refresh that one.
Okay. Yep, there it is.
Thanks,
all right.
That's Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy. So my dad, John Urbach, and his parents, Franz Urbach and Anna Federn, were all born and living in Vienna, Austria. In 1934, Hitler was in power, and I was told that the government wanted Franz to come work for them, and Franz told them no. When he and my grandmother got passports to come to the U.S. and had a very hard time leaving Vienna. My grandparents sent my father to Sweden, where he stayed with a family for 6 months before his parents were able to join him so they could come to New York. My grandma's parents were already living in New York. They arrived at Ellis Island December 1934. My grandfather was able to get a job at Kodak. Cool.
And if you guys know where Kodak owned the town of Rochester, New York, I mean, they were all about it. That's pretty cool.
Thank you to everybody who posted. That's wonderful. We love hearing everybody's stories.
And Azure, here's a good question.
Yep, we'll talk about those. Look forward to that. Should we do the ancestor homestead wall first? Let's see.
Sure.
We have 11 here.
Dang, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so the first one is from Tommy. Tommy, when I was a child, my family would travel to Bastrop, Louisiana to visit my mother's parents. Her father would grow this huge garden at another location nearby. And at this location was a huge rundown home. Vandals had broken the windows, broken in, scribbled on the walls. I can remember the rooms were rather large with tall ceilings, and I think a bathroom was later added on the outside of the home as you entered. It had a large porch. Don't you love those large porches in the South? Around the majority of it. The home and garden were in this large piece of property, and now it's a retirement home. They sold the land and built a retirement home.
Yeah, I love those big porches.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Eowyn, you want to grab this one?
Sure. From Nettie May Lucas. My grandma and grandpa lived on a farm in Monroe County, Iowa in the USA. His parents lived on the farm as well. My parents had moved back to Iowa from Las Vegas, Nevada, and were living there when I was born. The house and farm are gone now, but recently I found an estate auction ad from the local newspaper where my grandpa had a sale and sold everything because he wanted to move to Illinois to be closer to his children. The ad listed all the stuff that was for sale. It was interesting and heartbreaking to read. I would have loved to have been there and bought everything or at least taken pictures.
I know. Imagine everything. Travel light.
Oh, and we got a picture on this one. The home of Barry and Nan Galbraith, my maternal grandparents, was the location of Christmas dinner 1948 with 6 of their 7 children and a couple of children's spouses in attendance. This house was built in 1934 when Nan received a bequest from the will of her grandfather in England. The house replaced the small log cabin Barry had built when he obtained his homestead in the Cosmo district of Alberta, Canada in 1912. He had named the homestead farm Wilsona for his mother's Wilson family. This farm is a scene of many happy memories from my childhood. It remained in the family until early this century. I have included the link to the photo on Barry Galbraith's profile, as I have not figured out how to make the photo show up here. And so, Sandy, this is one of the ones you were able to.
I cheated, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that, Sandy.
It was too beautiful not to be on G to J.
Yeah.
Right.
Love it. And that's for Marilyn.
And then the next one's from Alyssa Hogan. And I was just back home in the Thelma, Michigan last week, and my maternal side's from that area all over Michigan, distant DNA cousins, and all over Canada as well. I spent time with a second cousin who owns the Hogan family farm, and my grandfather Russell built it. Russell was 3 of 4 children, first born in Hunt County, Michigan. His elder 2 siblings were born in Ontario. So I guess they were just right over the line and came to Michigan when his family and his father's brother's family bought adjoining acreage. His gas in World War I. And my father told me he deeded his share of the farm to his younger brother, Guy, but he couldn't physically farm. So now my cousin and all her sisters own it. In the 1980s, it was honored as a centennial farm. And my cousin says that when repairmen come to the house, they compliment the workmanship. and the innovations, because it was built in early 20th century after World War One. There was a log cabin, but no one seems to have photos of it. Oh, that's a shame. Or know the exact location, and the original privy still stands outside.
Wow.
And that's amazing. I am unsure how old the barn is. My grandfather was good at carpentry, built a lot of homes, including on the Air Force Base. That's kind of very cool. My father inherited the skills, put it to good use at the community theater and the golf course, and my dad's brother owns a construction company. So this is the Hogan Farm. That's beautiful. That
Wow.
barn, that barn is huge.
It
I
is.
mean, I don't think she said what crops they happen to do, but that's beautiful.
Great.
Yeah, it is. From Pam. My grandparents, Conrad Dreher and Josephine Worth, lived in Shonoshin, Kansas with their 14 children until they had to leave their farm about 1937 because their farm could no longer produce what the family needed. My mother said that her father sold his farm to one of his brothers, and on the day they loaded their car to move to Colorado, his brothers moved all the buildings across the road to his brother's farm. Not one building was left standing.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. My
Wow.
mom's memories of living on that farm included her father making moonshine, his brothers would bring him the corn, and Conrad would make the liquor. It was a dry state, so he was totally breaking the law. One day, my mom and her sister thought the law was coming, so they dumped a whole batch of liquor, causing the animals to get a bit drunk.
Oh no.
Oh,
That's crazy.
all
Anyway,
right.
I'll let you do the next one, and I'll do the one after.
Nan and Aunt Evie. When I was little, my dad and I would go visit my Nan and Gramps on the farm in, is it Caister Center, Ontario? The farm was built in the mid 1800s. The indoor bathroom was more of an indoor outhouse with a toilet that had a hole in the ground. The tub
wow.
was filled with buckets of water and drained by a hole in the floor. The house was heated by fireplaces and wood-burning stoves. They cooked on a wood-burning stove, and his dad would do repairs while we were up there. The walls were really thin. There weren't really nails used except in areas where repairs were already done. And instead they used a sort of wooden peg. After both my Nan and Gramps died, my Aunt Evie and her son Randy took over living in the farmhouse. That is, up until their health declined to the point that they could no longer take care of themselves. Unfortunately, the house was sold by one of my cousins with all contents intact. This means that my Nan's salt and pepper collection, all family photos, etc., are all gone. The rest of the family is very upset at him.
Me too.
Yeah.
The corporation that bought the house still hasn't done anything with it yet,
Oh.
even though it has been several years. There's
Well,
his dad. There's the dad on Nan's roof.
okay, so this is a good tie-in here. So the corporation that bought the house still hasn't done anything with it. So I wonder if Nan's salt and pepper collection is still in there.
Yeah, right?
Photos. And this is a good tie-in because this was my submission. So this is actually up on Point Mountain, West Virginia. It's pretty tall. Not,
Beautiful.
it's up there. I have compared with some other mountains around the world with WikiTreeers, and it's comparable. I'll just leave it at that. But the house was built by my grandfather. This land was given to him by my grandmother's father, and you can't see his house, but his house is behind there and up the hill. My grandmother's father. But he built it very small, very modest. They were 7 kids, and my mom and aunt will laugh that the 3 girls had to sleep in the same bed together and hated it. And the boys had a room with like kind of a feather bed. It wasn't like, anything that we would think extremely comfortable. There was not indoor plumbing where they lived, so they'd use an outhouse. My mom will tell you too that she was here in this house up until 11th grade. They moved and she graduated in a different county, but up until 11th grade, this woman was using an outhouse. So that was kind of crazy. But as we mentioned earlier with Norma's, mysteriously, I have the doorknob to this house.
Somehow it ended up in the shadow
Somehow.
box.
I mean, I just happened to be there with my husband Mike and some tools. But
Just happened to end up.
the house and trespassing, I might add. But the house and the property were sold for about $10,000 decades ago. I didn't know it. I would have bought it by, not even a family member. They bought it for hunting land. And the house is falling down. Nobody was going to live there. They were going to tear it down. So we just happened to be back there and thought, might want to do that. But they lived in Webster County, West Virginia, which you're going to laugh. And I'm glad that Mel and Amanda are here as well as Darren, because Webster County is known for the Wood Chopping Festival, where the Southeastern U.S. World Championship Wood Chopper title is actually won. And they have had people from Australia and New Zealand come and compete. So, as I know, even Australians and New Zealanders have ties to Appalachia.
Nice.
Another picture. Yay.
Karen Stewart. This home holds many of my happiest childhood memories. This is a more recent photo after the house was modernized and landscaped. My maternal grandparents lived in this house after moving in the 1940s to Ritchie County, West Virginia from Upshur County, West Virginia. My grandpa was a glassblower and the family had to move in order for him to find work.
Cool picture.
Yeah.
We may or may not be related.
Here's another picture. Dawson, Nebraska. Ira Dillingham Draper. My second I think I know who did this one.
Yeah.
My second great-grandfather settled here after he was chased by bounty hunters out of Iowa in 1864 as he hid fugitive slaves on his property. That area was a wilderness when the Drapers arrived. Dawson, Nebraska was founded by Ira's son, William Fountain Draper, on his homestead. William platted the town and legally named it Noraville in honor of his wife, Lenora Hatcher Draper. But he had no post office, as it was located a mile south at Dawson Mills. A saw and grist mill owned by Joshua Dawson. The residents in the area got their mail at Dawson Mills, and now a town named Noraville would confuse where the mail was delivered. A very ugly fight ensued between the Draper family and the area residents that supported Joshua Dawson. Then the post office was moved to Norville, and Joshua Dawson convinced the Postmaster General to keep the name of the post office as Dawson Mills. The postmaster agreed, but dropped the name Mills. To this day, if you buy property in Dawson, Nebraska, the deed has to say the town of Noraville, now known as the village of Dawson, Nebraska. Joshua Dawson had successfully stolen the name of a community to which William Draper's words were recorded in a newspaper. Heard more today concerning trouble about the name of our town. I must go to work and build a town and let somebody else run it.
That's funny.
Hanging is too good for some people in this world.
That's funny. And I would expect no other story from David.
So true. So true.
Oh, and Kathy is the next one, and I love it because she mentions a special camera. So my mom, Mary Trevor, took this picture of her mother standing in front of their home in 1946 with her baby brownie special camera. That's so cute.
That is awesome. That is such a cool picture. Thank you, Kathy, for adding that. Oh, another good picture.
That is a cool one.
This is the home. Oh, is it me? Is it you? I can't remember.
No. I have no idea.
I forgot where we were.
Go for it.
This is the home of William Murphy and Matilda Biles in Morgan County, Kentucky. It was built in 1823 and is extremely large for a log home in that area at that time. It is still standing today on Murphy Fork in Morgan County. William and Matilda had 21 children, with 17 of them
gracious.
living to adulthood. They had helped to build such a house and needed the space. The youngest son, Jotham Murphy, raised his family there, as well as my great-grandfather, Raleigh Ellsbury Murphy. So this is Lucas. Would tell stories about how the boys would let the dogs in the house with a cat while the women were down at the creek washing. That is why we can't have nice things. Was a likely response when the women returned from the washing. No roads existed at the time, so the house was located off of Murphy Fork of Grassy Creek, off of the Licking River that runs into the Ohio River, to the Mississippi River, to the Gulf of Mexico.
I want to know the address of that. Is that the address? 123 Murphy Fork of Grassy Creek.
Oh man,
that's funny. These were cool. I really like looking at everybody's ancestors and where they lived.
It looks like we had a few take part in the Where Were You Wednesday challenge. El Chapo said that they would be adding locations. And Tommy, great job, everybody. Guess we could check the scoreboard. Let's see. Oh, I guess it's not. I'd have to go into let's see. Somebody have a profile attached to one of these. Let's see here. Here we go. Challenge tracker. Locator. Oh, here it is. That's tomorrow's. Let's see. Let me go into the scoreboards and see what we got here. Locating. WikiTree. I'm not seeing it. Maybe it didn't work.
Maybe not.
Okay. Well, we appreciate y'all fixing them and adding them. Keep it up.
Let's see. Okay, well, we could look at the sharing a selfie so we can see Darren's motto.
Yeah. I am so impressed. I did not realize it was going to be so nicely done.
There's Snowflake.
I know. I love Snowflake.
And there it is, the Kellett arms.
Look at that.
And then
that's
this
amazing.
is looks like this might be the motto.
I mean, the colors and everything. What is it a wolf? Is it a buffalo? Is it a spider? What is that?
Yeah, Darren, share what the motto is and what the arms is about. Yeah. So share your selfies, you all, even though it's past WikiTree Day. We'd love to see pictures of you guys. See your smiling faces. I'll pop that into the chat there for you.
Or pets.
Yeah, and more pets. We love seeing the pets. So tomorrow is going to be all about dating. We'll have the challenge. We'll have G2G posts up for this day in history, Ancestor Edition, oldest ancestor challenge. Show and
How
tell.
do we find that out, Azure?
What's that?
How do we find out who is the oldest ancestor that we have?
I think you can go to ancestor statistics. If you go to find and apps.
There we go.
Let's see.
I'm not sure if it was a tree. No, I was thinking it was that one. But I think you're on it. It's a boar. Okay. And
is that what it was? Nope. I guess it's not on here. Let's see. I'm going to have to put this a little bit smaller just so I can read the... Let's see.
It's the generational statistics.
That's
what
it.
it's called.
Yeah.
Generational.
I couldn't remember what it is. Is that the one that Ian updated or created, or, at this point, Ian touches almost every WBE thing that we have, or tree app thing that we have, I think.
Okay, let me just go to my Papa and go to tree apps.
I'm really curious who's going to have the oldest. And we should also mention, this was something David Randall and I mentioned in bingo one time. WikiTree begins at year 0, right?
Yes.
There's no BC.
So it's the oldest living. So the one
living
that lived the longest. So I think that's the average lifespan.
If you scroll down, it'll tell you. Keep scrolling.
Yeah. Oldest ancestor.
Azure.
Furman Joseph, my dad's dad. 90 years old.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that's right in the WikiTree apps. The tree apps for mini profile. Oh, and you wanted me to show. I should do that while we were still. I should have done that while we were still on the selfie post.
Yeah, get a lot of questions about how to add a photo to GGG.
So I should. Let's see. So answer this post, and then there's this right here. Let me zoom in. There's this icon right here of a photograph or image. You just click that, and now I have to go back out again because it hides it up here.
I know. So yeah.
What you want to do is you want to get the full URL of the image. So let me see. We'll just use this one as an example. So if you go in after you've uploaded your image, if you go into the image itself and click in one more time, you can get the full URL of the image. And then when you're here, you can paste that right in. And then you can change the size of the image, because especially if it's a large image, you want to kind of take it down in size so it's not taking over the whole page. So I usually take it down to 200 or 250 or 300, and that will add it there for you.
Thanks, Az. That has been a big question that we've had all day. I would say pretty much all day.
That button right there for image.
And you guys didn't say, where's your bucket list? What's number one on your bucket list for location that you want to visit?
When I was a girl, it was always Ireland.
Oh.
But I don't know. Yeah, Ireland, Scotland, France. Yeah, Germany.
I could go to Italy for the pasta and the pizza, but I'm going to say something completely bizarre because it's one of those things that you probably will never go to. So I'm going to shoot for the moon and say Tahiti.
Oh, cool. That is cool.
I'll bring moonshine to Tahiti. There we go.
Good plan.
What about you, Eowyn?
Mine has nothing to do with family, but I want to go to New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Lord of the Rings.
You have to.
I feel like they would be really excited that I was there, at least in that part of New Zealand, because my name is Eowyn.
And they would look at your ticket and they go, oh my gosh.
I know.
You're going home.
They'd be like, first class, come on up here.
For the 80-hour flight.
Yeah, I would have to do first class for an 80-hour flight. Sorry, I can't. Plus, I could go visit my Kiwis.
You could. Wow. So Norway and New Zealand, Russia, Italy.
I guess we're not all going on a trip together then, since we're not going anywhere near the same places.
Maybe it's just one of those big, cruise ships goes around the world, and then when you're there, you just leave.
Just leave. Bye.
Just leave.
A genealogy cruise.
Yeah, we'll come back in a year and pick you up.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, and then show and tell date night wall. Do you have a photo of someone in your tree getting ready for a date or going on a date? Share it on the wall. And it's great if you have a picture. We love pictures. Another challenge for y'all is the marriage date mystery challenge. So pick a couple in your family tree that is missing their marriage date.
That happens a lot, I bet.
Yeah, and I think you could do a WikiTree Plus search for the marriage date too to see. I don't know.
Do you want to show how to do that?
Sure. Let's see what we can figure out. Let's see. Open up the help up here.
That's so nice.
Aw.
Someday.
Marriage date.
We need to do a roots tech in New Zealand.
Heck yeah. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Oh, I'm jealous. Lisa's going to London and Paris in September 2025.
Nice.
We need to get on that boat.
It looks like there is a sequel statement for marriage date, but I don't know if you could tell if it doesn't have the day and month or not. I think that would have been a good question for a lunch this morning, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'll send him a message and see if we can get some information. Then I'll add it to I'll let you know, Eowyn, you can do with it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I wonder if Kay's bio.
Oh yeah. The BioCheck app?
No. Yeah.
Is Kay in the chat?
Kay, are you here? That would be great. Kay.
Hey, where are you? And then again tomorrow night we have another cubicle party. Come by, chat, bring your snacks and your drinks, and
bring your date.
And we'll
introduce them to WikiTree. We'll sign them up right then and there. Who's greeting tomorrow night? Anybody in here greeting tomorrow night?
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. And then if anybody needs help uploading images too, you can ask questions there. I'm happy to help anybody with anything like that. And tomorrow we have 11 a.m. Eastern dating tips with Julie. That'll be great for doing that challenge. And then we have another roundup tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for that. That's fun. We'll showcase your answers from the day's challenge posts. Let's see, what else? What else do we want to share? Oh yeah, just to reiterate what we've said before is that Eowyn always pins the post for the day at the top of the G2G, so you can find it really easy there just by going to help and G2G. It takes you right to this page. So you'll be able to get there from wherever you're at. All right. So do we have any questions, or do we need to cover anything else, you guys? Do you think? Let's see.
I think that's everything.
Oh, I don't know. That is a good question with Lisa. So is there date night Friday or night as well? Or is the date night just dating tomorrow?
There is a Friday, the regular Friday date night. They're doing their thing.
So there's 2 date nights this week. Don't miss them.
Yeah, cool. Good questions. Bring them on. We love questions, y'all. Bring them on.
Yeah, ask us anything. We're here. And I'm tired, so I'll probably answer anything. So.
Oh, this is like one of those Instagrams. Ask me anything.
Ask me anything.
Anything. Okay. So can you tell me the winning lottery numbers tomorrow?
Yes. 23,
but I'm not going
12,
to.
18, and 9.
Oh yeah, here Ozzy's sharing 500 is usually the largest that fits nicely in a G2G post. Yeah. I wouldn't go any bigger than that usually.
And yes, there are 2 bingos. This is because it's WikiTree week. This one bingo at noon has been asked for me to present for almost 2 years now. And I finally got the gentleman he's actually taking off work so he could do it, and it'll be on Freemasonry. And we're going to talk a little bit about, those societies. Like my brother is a member of the Moose, Laurel Order of Moose, and my father-in-law is American Legion. What are all these societies? What are they?
Cool.
And
That's
then the later one will be, did you guys, I said this before, Stromboli's named after somebody, Shrapnel's named after somebody, women's, intimates are named after somebody. There's all kind of crazy things. So it's all in a name.
that's cool.
And do we have mugs for the Sweet 16?
Oh, that
Somebody
Sweet
asked me
16 logo. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Somebody
If
asked me
only
if
we
had-
knew somebody.
I know.
Yeah, who
Azure.
could
Do we
do
know
that?
and do we know anybody named Azure that could send it to somebody named Eowyn and Eowyn? I got a question for you.
Yeah, hit me.
Can we have a mug? It says Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'll put it on a bunch of stuff.
And then come to bingo, and you've got 4 chances on Friday to win that mug. It will be a collector's item.
That would be awesome.
That would.
Yeah, I like that little logo. That's cool. And here's the store, just in case y'all haven't heard us talking about it before. It's a really cool place to check out. Eowyn has a code for us, Wiki15, for 15% off your order, and that's good till the end of the month. So that's cool.
There's
Kathy,
all kinds of fun stuff in there.
It really is. I want the apron. I found out I missed the apron. I didn't
There's an
realize you
apron.
all want the shower curtain. I want the apron.
they're asking if there's going to be another Midnight Madness.
There's always in my house a Midnight Madness. So yeah, ask Eowyn and we'll see.
Yeah, let me think about when we might want to do that.
Oh, what's the number for where we're at? Let's see.
Darren.
Where are we? We're at. Ooh, we're getting close. There it is. 39899-334.
We need 101 666 67. Yep, 666. Somebody had a profile.
Really quick.
Yeah, who wants to do an all-nighter tonight? We can do it, right? We can get that in.
We can just keep going right now.
Yeah.
Let's
all
go.
the way through the end of WikiTree.
All the way through the end of WikiTree.
And those
the longest
country
podcast ever.
Yeah, and those country projects that are working on your brick walls, just tell them to keep adding ancestors. So keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Don't stop.
Oh, the number that you want to guess, you would do that. Let me get that for you. Let's see.
I don't know. David Randall's talking about German chocolate cake. I could do that. This is WikiTree, birthday celebration. Doesn't have to be that white icing cake. It could be any cake, right?
Maybe anything you want.
Yeah, so put your guesses in for that, and the prize if you win is a die cut sticker, and that's this one right here.
They're so cute.
Yeah, I love it. It looks cool. I like this notebook too.
I do too.
Yeah, the notebooks come out really nice.
Mm-hmm. And I like it on the black background. It makes that green pop. I love that.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Also, I think I don't know if we ever mentioned this, but we don't really mark the stuff up, so we just want to clarify, like, there's not like a ton of money coming to WikiTree from this, or me because I run the store, but we just do it so you guys can have some cool stuff. I just don't want people to think like a lot of money's coming to us from this, because it's not the case.
She's funding our first class ticket to New Zealand.
Yeah, to New Zealand. This is how I'm getting to New Zealand.
It's going to take a long time. But
so if you could go buy a mug, I could be there maybe by 2050.
Oh, we should also mention that this particular, there's some supplier, there's a different supplier for the mug, for the shirt, and some are quicker than others. So if you, get a shirt and your best WikiTree friend gets the mug, and you get your shirt and they don't get the mug, and you're like, what's up? It's different suppliers, different.
Yeah. And I know at least a couple of them have been kind of backlogged.
Yeah.
So hopefully stuff is getting out now.
Yeah. All right. Well,
okay.
Wait, we're ending? So we're going till the end of WikiTree. I was already. That would be so bad. I don't even want to know like what would be coming out of my mouth by then.
It would be so rubby.
It would be so bad.
Oh. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us for this live cast. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.